I have a question. Is this including input of the strategic plan with the community?
Yes.
Good, thank you. I'm not really big on this AARP spokesperson picture of me that's hanging on the wall. Other than that, I like it a lot. So to be clear, all the boosters, the PTSO and ELAC have seen the verbiage, not so much the pictures.
They haven't even seen the verbiage. So anybody who was, their representatives, yes, that were on the stakeholders committee have seen the verbiage.
Good. So we've closed that loop with those people. Thank you. I'm getting danced on all over, but whatever. Mr. Brockway, I don't want to get into a bunch of detail here, but thank you for your poise and your positive representation of the district in your recent WWF WrestleMania contest that began as a football game. But to be serious, I think that it took a while for the Sheriff's Department to get there, and I think it would behoove everyone, whether it's the PTSO groups or whatever, to understand maybe through the resident deputy, to have a little meeting and have them discuss what a response like that looks like when the call's picked up, it goes to the station in Palmdale, and how long before the helicopter and everything gets here. Because I think planning all these things is good, but I think you need to know about the capability. If I could go back 10 years, we would have more county involvement in the city, or town. So I think we would end up with a basic substation. We've got somebody here all the time, but we don't have to wait 20 minutes for the helicopters and 40 squad cars to get here. But I would like to see people understand what the logistics and time response is when something like that is needed. So I'm glad to see any time that resident deputy is called in. I want to talk a little bit about high desert sports. No less than awesome. I'm not sure that everybody understands that we've had some declines in the sports participation at the high school level. I think that this is the answer to that. I think you're going to have feeder programs coming up from this. I think you're going to see increases there. That's going to mean ADA. I really want to thank the Agua Dulce Airport for their contributions for the uniforms the kids are wearing. Again, back to school night was a great success. I really enjoyed seeing the PTSO, the booster, and the ELAC people spelling each other so the parents could actually go see their teacher rather than sitting out there and making me fat with their brownies, which are excellent. And I'm really excited about the positive group influence these groups are having together across all the campuses. I'm about equity and positivity, not helicopter and tribalism and that kind of thing. So I want to give a shout out to the mommies. You know who you are and what you do every day in this district, and I so much appreciate that, even if you don't get much credit for it. Finally, I work in a municipality that has a very restrictive tobacco use and sales policy. In fact, I think they're the first city in the United States that has totally restricted the sale of tobacco and vaping products anywhere in the city. But I'm seeing more and more things on the internet about people's lungs that having pulmonary failure and other terms. I don't even know what they are. But anyway, you got 24-year-old kids dying because their lungs quit working. I'm going to give you a couple of things, and this will probably shock you, because if you're getting health tips and crime prevention tips from me, there's probably a huge problem. But I'll tell you, teachers, if you see a backpack laying against a wall near an outlet, there's no computer being charged a vape and pen, right? And something else that we might want to notice, if there's a car going in and out of the parking lot every 12 to 15 minutes, either somebody's really confused about where they're going or somebody's selling dope. So I think we need to torque down on some of this stuff and keep a better eye on it. So anything we can do to make sure the kids that go here that don't want to participate in that stuff and be exposed to the stuff that comes with it, whether it's breathing somebody else's whatever they're spitting out of their lungs today. I do know that there's starting to be octane level sensors that are be able to put in bathrooms. So as soon as the octane level changes, boom, the alarm goes off, and then you do know that people are vaping. I don't care to see that in our schools. I don't care to see students that don't want to participate in that exposed to it. Kelly. I have something.
Oh, there's something.
It's Pfalzgraf, Pfalzgraf. Write
I'm
that
just
down.
going to say Ken.
Okay, that's good. That's better than what most people call me. Here's what I want to know. Those books are really old. I think Abraham Lincoln used them. Sometimes I wonder with some of the stuff that's coming out in the new California curriculum, especially about the health stuff, and I'm going to be politically correct here, if there's some hesitance to change because this community might not be real acceptive of some of the stuff that might be in that book. If that's the case, I want to know that.
Yes, sir.
Okay? Thank you. My comment on this is, if I recall, this is not, we go out and find the yes people and go after their votes. It's just a widespread making sure that you have a broad representation of who this is and whatever comes back. Or was this the cheaper version of that?
No, what you described formerly was correct. Exactly. It's to get a.
So there's no prejudice as to who the respondents
It's
are?
actually intended, if I'm not mistaken, to be a scientific study, survey of registered voters and the demographics of this district.
Correct.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, I have a responsibility to do this on Lynn's behalf. Lynn is up here telling us what the budget looks like, and there's some responsibilities that go with that, heavy responsibilities. First off, you saw some charter decline with, I forget what it was on the first part, the red part. Apparently did not return. Now includes under federal indictment for stealing $50 million, and some of those people stood right up there and asked to be petitioned in here. So understand that. If you're in San Diego County right now, the DHESA superintendent is under indictment for taking charter revenue, excess charter revenue, and spending it on projects and things that a normal school district would do. So apparently the San Diego DA is now in charge of state funding policy for public schools. So I'm not sure where that's going or whatever, but I've said this before. I think it's really important that you have position control and budgeting, program budgeting, where you know when the day comes that this is actually going to go to actual credit cost recovery or cost recovery. So if you spend $1 overseeing a charter, you're going to charge $1, and they may give you 1%, but these days are going to be over soon, I feel, especially when you've got superintendents doing virtually the same thing we're doing here under indictment in another county that's right down there. It will shock me if the LA County DA doesn't come strolling in here one of these days, given the same people stood right there. That said, we want to remember that LACO approves our budget. Lynn doesn't tell LACO what to do. They send us a letter that says our budget has been accepted. They send it to the board president, and they have sent that out. They've sent it out a number of years, and any idiot with a spreadsheet can take one cell that says ADA, the number of ADA, and the average ADA per student, and come up with something that says, if you have 1,087 students, it certainly doesn't give you $4 million more because you have a charter somewhere. So they know exactly what's going on. And what we're seeing out of them is very weak language that kind of says, you might want to watch out for this. My concern is when the day comes where they actually put a stop to this, are the reserves we built up going to be at risk? Or should we involve ourselves in a game of, well, that money's not really from a charter because we moved this out of here and put it over here, and say we want to finish a playground over here, or maybe the dirt pile up there at the high school. If we want to use those funds, we'll do the fund balance game and shift things around. In the city I work in, when a project is approved, there's a capital improvement fund or something that is budgeted and drawn from as part of the report. And I expect that that's what we do here. That's what we've always done here. I'm not trying to run up anything under the flagpole, but Lynn is under great pressure to try to figure out what people are going to do when some DA somewhere is basically setting the charter policy. So again, I will say to you, I very much appreciate that you're astute to how much money we're spending, and that you're very conservative, Lynn. Thank you. Mike, the only thing that I would suggest is you announce what the subcommittee liaison committee, who sat on that, and how those recommendations came to the rest of the board members is basically an overview of the work that had been done.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Pfalzgraf. So unlike previous years, we actually, this year, we made a subcommittee of 2 of the 5 board members. That was myself and Mr. Pfalzgraf. Other board members concurred with that selection. And we came up with this proposal and brought it to the rest of the board. And the board was unanimous in agreeing that holding these same terms and these change to vacation days was appropriate. This followed a performance evaluation that is, it's a personnel document, so I won't go into it, but clearly we were happy, and we expressed that by providing the superintendent contract that goes for additional years, so there's some certainty there. Is that what you had in mind?
Yeah, Mike, I'll add to that, that the idea behind this is you see people rotating up here regularly, and you don't see one person negotiating the superintendent's contract or their performance evaluation, because in that case it's very easy to develop a mono presidency, in which is really important to keep the person sitting in that chair important and the rest of these not so much. I think that's been a major advancement in this administration over previous administrations, and that's the best way I can say that. Thank you.